The Second Battle of Newbury, fought on October 27, 1644, was one of the major engagements of the English Civil War. It was a significant confrontation between the forces of the Royalists, under King Charles I, and the Parliamentarians, commanded by the Earl of Essex. The battle occurred near the town of Newbury in Berkshire, and like the First Battle of Newbury earlier that year, it was a hard-fought encounter that had crucial strategic implications for both sides. Background and context. By the autumn of 1644, the English Civil War had reached a critical juncture. The Royalists, having been weakened by defeats at Marston Moor, July 1644, and the loss of much of the Northern and Midlands territories, were struggling to maintain their hold over key areas. Meanwhile, the Parliamentarians, bolstered by the new model army, had gained significant victories and were seeking to consolidate their control over the country. In October 1644, King Charles I, who had been operating in the south, attempted to rally his forces for a decisive confrontation with the Parliamentarians. The Earl of Essex, the Parliamentarian commander, was tasked with preventing a Royalist breakthrough and protecting London from further Royalist advances. The two armies met near Newbury, with the Parliamentarians seeking to prevent the Royalists from breaking through and making an assault on London, while the Royalists hoped to inflict a decisive defeat on Parliament's forces and change the momentum of the war in their favor. The battle. The battle unfolded on the 27th of October in an area north of Newbury, where the two sides engaged in a series of intense skirmishes. The Royalists, led by King Charles I, had about 14,000 men, while the Parliamentarians, commanded by the Earl of Essex, had a slightly larger force of around 15,000 troops. In the early stages of the battle, the Royalists gained some initial successes, pushing the Parliamentarians back. King Charles personally directed the Royalist assault, aiming to break the Parliamentarian lines. However, the Parliamentarians held firm, and the battle soon became a series of shifting engagements across the field. The key moment of the battle came when the Parliamentarians, under the command of Sir William Waller and the Earl of Essex, launched a strong counterattack. Although the Royalists initially gained the upper hand, the Parliamentarians' resilience and tactical coordination forced the Royalists to halt their progress. The battle eventually resulted in a tactical stalemate, with neither side able to secure a decisive victory. Aftermath and consequences. At the end of the day, both sides suffered heavy casualties. Estimates suggest that the Royalists lost about 1,000 men, while the Parliamentarians suffered around 1,500 casualties. Despite the lack of a clear winner, the battle had important consequences for the course of the war. The Royalists, although unable to achieve a decisive victory, were forced to retreat and abandon any immediate plans to march on London. King Charles I, who had hoped to break Parliament's defensive position, had failed in his objective. Meanwhile, the Parliamentarians, although unable to deliver a crushing blow to the Royalists, managed to maintain their hold on the region and prevented the Royalists from advancing further. The failure of the Royalists to capitalize on their initial successes at the Second Battle of Newbury was a significant blow to King Charles's hopes of a quick resolution to the war. Despite this, the battle did not end the conflict. Both sides continued to engage in military operations, with several more key battles and sieges to come. Legacy. While the Second Battle of Newbury was tactically inconclusive, it marked a significant moment in the war, demonstrating the increasing resilience and coordination of the Parliamentarian forces. It was also another indication that the Royalist cause, despite its initial successes, was unable to maintain momentum and decisively defeat the Parliamentarians. The battle reinforced the strategic importance of Newbury, and both sides would return to the town in future engagements. The Second Battle of Newbury helped set the stage for further campaigns and ultimately the eventual collapse of the Royalist cause, which would culminate in the defeat of King Charles I and the establishment of the Commonwealth of England.